And then we have a whole bunch of people who show up that have trust issues in that they've watched somebody on TikTok tell them that they should put a trust at the top of their structure, and they have all kinds of problems they don't even know that they have.
And they're told that you don't pay tax, and you have all the control, and the assets stay with you. None of that's true.
Probably the biggest one, because especially unless you're running an empire, everybody shows up and it's just them, right? And maybe they're thinking about putting their spouse in there, but I don't think people even realize why the massive, massive change that happens when you go from being a single to a multi-member in an entity. And so can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know it always shocks people that they're like, we tell them, oh, don't you call somebody in your life that you trust and put them in a business with you? And they look like, oh, I don't know. Like, it's shocking. So.
Yeah, we had a guy 2 weeks ago come in, and almost every one of his companies was self-owned. He had C corps, he had S corps, he had partnerships. I mean, they were really just sole props, single member LLCs. Right. And the way we set up our structure, we use little cool little hexagons, and the person in the middle. It was literally, I didn't have enough space around his little circle to put all the little companies that he owned. I'm like, have you been in a lawsuit yet? He goes, no. Like, that's why. Because in a lawsuit, all of those they're limited liability, not no mo, because it's just you acting like an alter ego. And then when we started talking about multi-members, well, we just set this up and figured out how to move these assets into multi-members. He's like, oh, okay, well, that's as long as I have majority ownership and majority control. What's the point? If you just own 51% or have 51% control of your partnership, it's the same as being a sole proprietorship. Ain't nobody going to vote you down. And in a lawsuit, a smart plaintiff's going to go, it's really just her doing all the things. And so we're going to include her personal assets. And I don't know what we're going to do with these other people. We're going to wipe out the LLC. No. Look, you can, in a partnership, you can bifurcate control from ownership so that you can own a very little bit, but have the control you need. And that's not a bad idea, because getting paid out of an LLC, isn't that great? State, federal, self-employment tax, gross. If you're in a blue state, you're up to 50, 60% tax if you're making some money. So ownership, we need to get out of our mindset that we need to have all the control. No, you want to have multi-members in such a way, including that C corp that we put at the top, which also has a control matrix over your partnership, so that on paper, you've got 33% or something. But in reality, you've got 50 or more percent because of other corporate interests that have control. And so those other corporate interests we put in states where they don't report, with a great non-disclosure agreement in the operating or bylaw, so that says that we don't tell you anything, even though you've got the ugly black dress with the stupid wooden hammer. We don't disclose anything unless you come up with these things, for which they're unable to come up because there's no charges against those other entities. So, these are the kinds of things that we want to put into multi-member companies. But folks who show up with, I just own everything. I have to white knuckle it. This is the downfall. You think John D. Rockefeller was just just owned everything?
So essentially, Mark, we have like an interesting problem with the same word. We have a ton of people who show up who have trust issues, meaning they don't trust someone enough to be in their business with them, right? That's a whole thing that we see all the time. And then we have a whole bunch of people who show up that have trust issues in that they've watched somebody on TikTok tell them that they should put a trust at the top of their structure, and they have all kinds of problems they don't even know that they have. And
they're told that you don't pay tax, and you have all the control, and the assets stay with you. None of that's true.
None of that's true. Right?
Huh?
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, look, guys, and all the trust attorneys, I don't know what the deal is. I'm an enrolled agent. I'm not an attorney. I don't practice law. I'm not an idiot. I don't want to practice law. I'm going to stick in my lane. But I can read the law. I'm an American citizen. I can read it. I can even interpret it, just not for you, but I can interpret it and go, hey. And if it's from the IRS, that is in my purview. And they posted a nice little revenue resolution in 2023, happens to be on March 29th, that says, hey, y'all, since y'all been playing fast and loose with trust for decades, we're going to knock that off. We're going to lock it in. It's the best thing that the Biden administration ever did, as far as I'm concerned. So it's like, boom, here's how trusts work. Oh, well, that doesn't apply to me because, that's just a tax code. I'm sorry, what? Oh, it's regulations in the state. Okay. Well, after you die and the estate tax is levied against you because they said that the irrevocable trust that you set up really isn't an irrevocable trust because you've been playing fast and loose with it. And according to the new regulations, it's now a revocable trust. And now all the estate's put to you and you got to pay 40% tax on it or your heirs do. Did that apply after all? Yes. Oh, you're getting sued. And the plaintiff goes, well, you've been playing fast and loose with it. Oh, yeah, but that's an IRS regulation. Well, I think we should obey the IRS regulations, don't you? And if the IRS says it's not an irrevocable trust, I think we should think it's a revocable trust too. Don't you, gal in the ugly black dress with the stupid woman hammer? Yes. We should look at the law, which is pretty poignant these days as of March 2023, and go, it's not just whatever we see. There's a particular dude with a beard and weird glasses on Instagram, and I'm now his follower because I just need to get the laughs every morning when I see his posts. And he's got this rough voice, it's just tax free. And, you don't want to report, you don't want to put your assets into a company that reports to everyone. Yes, you do. Because what are you going to do? Hide them? A trust can't be sued. Anybody can sue a trust if you put something public into it, like, I don't know what, bank account, house, car. Oh, there it is. Let's go sue that. Yes, your private things that are not listed, you can put into a trust, and that's not a bad idea. But we're not talking about storing for grandma. We're talking about making money. If y'all interested in making money in a revocable trust, which is most of what your trusts are talking about, there's no tax benefits and there's no asset protection. In an irrevocable trust, which is what the big powerful trusts, and they're great, you got to walk away. The tax is 37%, or it's passed down to you on your front of your 1040. Schedule E. So what are we doing again? Why are we taking something that's meant to hold assets and shoehorn it into it's great for profits? Because some bozo who hasn't actually looked at the new resolutions goes, this is how we've always done it. Yeah, well, times have changed.
The information situation is getting so bad because people are just blindly following without doing any research, and they don't realize that person is going to say whatever they want to say to get clicks, to get likes, to get subscribers. It has nothing to do with being accurate. And if you don't do your own homework, like, that is not going to be a defense that you saw on social media, right? You saw a cat dancing on social media this morning, right? That's not a court defense for anything, right? So it's wild how people are just blindly following these people who are so wrong. It is so sad to me how many of our customers, we are not the first stop because we're a smaller shop. They go to all kinds of places. They pay insane amounts of money, and they have things that don't work, are not accurate, and they somehow know in their heart it isn't right. And so they don't know what's wrong. We have a lot of people who just show up and just go, I don't exactly know what's wrong, but I know it's not right. And it's just really heartbreaking. But you have got to do some of your own research. You really do. I'm not asking you to go read the whole, Uniform Commercial Code. Mark, that's more Mark's hobby.
And look, and to be fair, you don't have to listen to us. Don't listen to us. We just want to point you in maybe an ancillary direction so that you can go, this is interesting. And the people who sign up with us who go, that makes sense. They have done their research. They've listened to all the other folks, and that's fantastic. And they've done their research and they're like, this seems to be a better direction. And those are the people we love working with because we're not trying to snow anybody. And I have had in the last 2 years, a lot of people help me understand things that even I didn't understand. I was like, I didn't understand that if you're going to set up irrevocable trusts for the shares you have in your C Corp, that the people who are the trustees of those trusts must not be in the C Corp. Otherwise, you just blew everything up because of the nature of familiar relationship with C Corp owned shares. So I'm like, God, I didn't know that. That's good. Always learning. So there's always things to do. But guys, just blindly walking around going, oh, I heard this guy on the internet because it said it's tax-free and it's Nevis or it's Cypress Trust or it's something else.
Dangerous stuff. Yeah. That is, at the end of the day, what makes us different than everyone else is that we are super committed that our clients actually learn. And that's a big difference. Like, we could spend our time just doing structures and such for people, and we do have clients that we do that for, but the majority of our time and energy is spent actually being educators and making sure that this never happens again, and that they know enough that even when their family member or their best friend come to their kitchen table and say, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z, they go, oh my gosh, don't do that, right? And I know why, right? And so, I think that's really what makes our business really rewarding, actually, is how empowering them to ask questions, to negotiate, to get curious, really bring curiosity to your finances, and set aside all of your fear of things like the IRS, right? Most people are terrified of the IRS. They're not the scariest people alive. They're not even working on being the scariest people alive. So there's no reason to have all that fear. You could just have knowledge, and you would have a completely different relationship with some knowledge. So,
and even our one-on-one clients, yeah, we do a lot of work for them, but we still spend a great deal of time educating them, because if I put you into a Formula One racer, and if you don't have any racing experience, you're gonna get in that car, put your helmet on, and you're gonna go around the track. And by about turn 2, you're gonna hit the wall, because you have no idea how to corner, how to manage braking, how to manage acceleration out of a turn. You don't realize that the best way to get through that turn is to actually hit the accelerator pedal, not the brake pedal. So there's a whole bunch of things. You're gonna hit the wall, but it's still a Formula One racer. Pretty great. Now, if we train you, then you may not race in the Indianapolis 500, but you're going to get around the track at 200 miles an hour. You're going to make that work. That's why you can't just hand somebody a corporate structure. And a lot of the people that we see, oh, we'll build it all for you. I mean, we have people come, they've been to one of those weekends where they got 50 trusts and 3 foundations, and they're all brought together. And you're like, they spent 50 grand or 75 grand. Like, I'm so excited. I'm like, okay, well, you're clear that the assets that you put into that foundation, you can never use again, right? Because the purpose of a foundation is to benefit the community, and you and your family are not the community. And if you're trying to take stuff out of the foundation for yourself, that's embezzlement. You'll go to jail. I mean, there are few, not a few exceptions to this, but we see it all. So be careful, do your research. And if you have questions, look, we're happy to just reach out, and we're happy to answer them. And, every now and then we go live and on Instagram or TikTok and just answer questions for people. So, you can reach out there or join us in one of our programs. But either way, we're here to help, and we're here to dispel misinformation with not the regular middle of the road information, with the information that we believe is the keys to the success of the future of American citizens, which is not in your 401k or your IRA or your LLC or your S Corp. It's working with the only people that are going to survive, and that's the corporations, and being as much like them as you possibly can.
Until next time, be wealthy.